Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to learn about thermal properties of matter. NCERT section 10.9 to 10.9.1 and example 10.6. This is disclaimer. Learning objectives. By the end of this lecture you will able to understand the concepts of conduction and thermal conductivity. In today's lecture we will cover first 10.9 heat transfer, then 10.9.1 conduction. After that, we will solve an example 10.6. So, heat transfer. Basically, uh, in heat transfer, there is a movement of thermal energy from one object to another object. And the movement of thermal energy having due to temperature difference between two bodies. So, if we talk about the definition, so we can say heat transfer is a movement of thermal energy from one object or system to another due to a temperature difference between them. This process continues until thermal equilibrium is reached. It means the movement of thermal energy continues until the thermal equilibrium is reached. The temperature of two bodies or two systems is same in that case. There are three main mechanisms of heat transfer. First, conduction. Second, convection. And third, radiation. So, these are the mechanisms of heat transfer. So, first mechanism is conduction. In uh, conduction mechanism, there is a heat transfer from one body to another body, or we can say heat transfer from solid body from a point to another point. So, if we talk about the definition, so conduction is one of the heat transfer mechanism where energy moves through matter. Listen carefully. In conduction, there is only energy moves. There is a no movement of matter. So energy moves through matter from higher to lower temperature regions that are touching each other. There is a no movement of matter. Example: when one end of a metallic rod is heated, heat travels through the rod to the other end via conduction. So let's see, we have a metallic rod and we heat it. So at end A, when we heat it, there is a flow of heat from point A to point V, and the rod is a solid rod. And we can say there is a transfer of heat from A point to B point, and this phenomena known as conduction. The important point is this: first, there is a only movement of energy. There is no movement of matter from a point to point B, A point to B point. Heat flow in a material. Let's see an example. So let's consider a metal rod of length L and the uniform cross section area A with two ends maintained at temperature Tc and Td. So the first end, the temperature is temperature Tc, and second one temperature Td. So at a certain point, the temperature along the rod stops changing and remains constant. This state known as steady state. Alright, here the temperature along the rod stops changing. It means there is no difference in temperature. For steady state, we can say temperature at and A is, is Tc is equal to other end, that is Td. So Tc equal to Td. So as shown in figure 10.14, there is a rate of heat flow H along the rod is found to be, first, the rate of heat flow H is directly proportional to area of cross section. So area, cross sectional area is A. A represent cross sectional area. So heat is directly proportional to A. Alright. Second is heat is direct, rate of heat flow is directly proportional to temperature difference. The temperature of first end is Tc and another end Td. So Tc minus Td, this is the temperature difference. So we can say heat rate of heat flow is directly proportional to Tc minus Td. Third is the rate of heat flow from one end to another end is inversely proportional to length of the rod. It means if the length is more, heat rate of heat flow is less. It is inversely proportional to each other. So we can say there is a three factor. First, area of cross sectional. Second, temperature difference. And third, length of the rod on which rate of heat flow depends. So from first, second and third terms, we can say rate of heat flow is directly proportional to A into Tc minus Td divided by L. So this is the important relation. So for removing the proportionality sign, we use a constant here. So let's see the mathematical formulation. So to removing the proportionality sign, there is a constant K. So the rate of heat flow becomes H is equal to Ka Tc minus Td divided by L. And we know K is a constant, A is area of cross sectional, Tc temperature at point C and temperature at point D divided by L. Alright. So we know K is the proportionality constant. And K is defined as a thermal conductivity of material. K is defined as thermal conductivity. And H is the rate of heat flow or heat current. Or another mathematical term is H is equal to dq upon T. Alright. Now thermal conductivity. So thermal conductivity is the measure of a material's ability to conduct heat, or we can say thermal conductivity tell us about the conductivity of the material. It describes how quickly heat flows through a substance when temperature difference exists. So suppose we have a metallic rod and there is a two end. Let's consider A end and B end, and the temperature difference between A and B end is suppose 10 degrees Celsius. So thermal conductivity tells us about the heat energy flows from A point to B point. Higher thermal conductivity means faster heat transfer. It means thermal heat transfer is directly proportional to conductivity. So materials with a large K means higher conductivity. Large K value are good conductors because heat moves through them quickly. If heat not moves from them quickly, we can say the conductivity of that material is not faster. Lower K means slower heat transfer. So we can say if the thermal conductivity is lower, K is lower, so the heat transfer is slower. So materials with small k means small thermal conductivity value, are poor conductors. Small k means their conductivity is poor, or they are good insulators because they resist heat flow. You know, insulators are material, they resist heat flow. So here we can say higher conductivity, faster heat transfer, lower conductivity, slower heat transfer, and the material from which heat transfer is slower. So we can say that material is insulator because they resist heat flows. Solids are generally good thermal conductors. Solid materials are good thermal conductors, while gases are poor conductors and liquids have intermediate conductivity. All right. If we arrange their on the basis of thermal conductivity, so we can say solid, the thermal conductivity of solid material is greater than thermal conductivity of uh, liquid substances, and liquids, and greater than thermal conductivity of gaseous substance. Units of thermal conductivity: joule per second per Kelvin per meter per Kelvin, or watt per meter per Kelvin. All right. Difference between thermal conductors and insulators. So first, we talk about thermal conductors. So conductor is a material that allows thermal energy to flow easily between different locations without significant resistance. So any conductors that allows flow of energy from between two locations, their resistance should be zero. Materials such as copper are excellent at conducting heat. They have higher conductivity, thermal conductivity value, but copper is a too costly. This means heat spreads through them very quickly. So we can say that thermal conductivity value is high. Example: copper is used at the bottom of cooking pots to ensure heat spreads evenly, helping food cook uniformly. Second is thermal insulators. An insulator is a material that effectively prevents or minimizes heat transfer between two regions. It means insulator resist the transfer of heat. These materials are used when you want to keep heat inside the material, like in a thermos, or keep heat out, like in a cooler. So these type of materials known as insulators. Thermoplasts utilize a double walled construction with a vacuum between the walls to minimize heat transfer through. So we can say from the insulator, the transfer of heat is zero because they resist heat transfer. Coolers are built using heat resistant materials such as expanded polystyrene or vacuum insulation panels to maintain cold temperature. Example: wood are insulator, glass, wool, and plastic forms are effective thermal insulators due to their low thermal conductivity, or we can say their lower value of K. All right. Role of air in insulation. All gases, including air, are not good at conducting heat. Value of thermal conductivity for air is very low. Example, plastic foams. So, structure of plastic foams consists of tiny pockets of trapped air. Yes or no? Throughout the material. So, the trapped air are not responsible for conductivity. So, these trapped air pockets minimize heat transfer, making plastic foams excellent thermal insulators. So, this is good thermal insulators. All right. So, here from this discussion, we can say uh, air are not good thermal conducting, not good thermal conductor. Real world applications of thermal conductivity. First, building design. In summer, concrete roofs often becomes extremely warm since concrete conducts heat much better than typical insulating materials. So, to keep room cooler, a layer of insulating material like earth or foam is added to ceiling to block this heat transfer from outside. So this prevents the transfer of heat. Second is copper coating on pots. So copper is an excellent conductor of heat. Yes or no? So it distributes heat evenly across the bottom of the pot or pan. So suppose you have a pan or pot, and the bottom of the pot are distributed by a copper material. So they are helpful. Uh, they are helpful, or we can say they are uh, increase, or we can say they are increase the flow of heat throughout the pan, because copper is a good conductor which prevents overheating and prompts consistent cooking. All right. Real world applications of thermal conductivity. Third is nuclear reactors. Nuclear reactors emit a considerable amount of heat. This heat is extracted from the reactor using coolants such as water, helium, or liquid metals like sodium. These coolants absorb the heat and circulate through the reactor core, collecting the heat. The collected heat is then transferred to an heat exchanger where it is utilized to generate steam for electricity production. So, these are the real world applications of thermal conductivity. All right. Table 10.7, thermal conductivities of some substances. So, there is some materials. First is metal. So, and their thermal conductivity is values, the value of K, unit watt per meter per Kelvin. So, for silver, the value is 406. For copper, the value is 385. For aluminium, the thermal conductivity is 205. For brass, 109. From steel, for steel, it will be 50.2, and for lead, 34.7, and for mercury, 8.3. So thermal conductivities of metals. Now from this table, tell me a question. Tell me a answer of this. Tell me a answer of one question. So which one is the which substance have a high thermal conductivity? Yes, 406 silver. And which substance have low thermal conductivity? Mercury. All right, but we use copper because silver is too costly. So copper is also good thermal conductor, have a thermal conductivity. So for thermal conductivity we use copper substances. All right, thermal conductivities of some substances. Now next material is known metals. So insulating brick, their thermal conductivity is 0.15. Concrete, their thermal conductivity is 0.8. Body fat thermal conductivity is 0.20. Water thermal conductivity is 0.8. And wood thermal conductivity is 0.12 to 0.04. So this one is the range of thermal conductivity of wood. So we can say in known metals the high thermal conductivity is insulating brick and low thermal conductivity is wood. Thermal conductivities of some substances. Let's talk about gases. So for air, the thermal conductivity is 0.024. For argon, 0.016. And for hydrogen, 0.14. These are the thermal conductivities of gases. All right. Example 10.6. What is the temperature of steel copper junction in the steady state of the system shown in figure? So here we have a steel copper junction. So this one is the steel and this one is the copper. Length of the steel rod is 15.0 centimeter, whereas length of the copper rod is 10.0 centimeter. Temperature of the furnace is 300 degrees Celsius and temperature of the other end is 0 degrees Celsius. All right. The area of cross section of the steel rod is twice that of the copper rod. And thermal conductivity of steel is 50.2 joule per second per meter per Kelvin. And copper 385 joule per second per meter per Kelvin. All right. So here you have to find out the temperature of the steel copper junction in the steady state. So think about it. Let's see the solution. So given length of the steel rod L1 is equal to 15.0 centimeter. Length of the copper rod L2 equal to 10.0 centimeter. Temperature of the furnace is equal to 300 degrees Celsius. And temperature of the other end is 0 degrees Celsius. For furnace, first end and ice box is second end. Thermal conductivity of steel, 50.2 joule per second per meter per Kelvin. And thermal conductivity of copper, 385 joule per second per meter per Kelvin. All right. Now, let's set up the heat flow equations for both rods, steel rod and copper rod. So let T be the temperature of the steel copper junction. Here we assume the temperature of the steel copper junction is T. Area of steel A1 and area of copper A2. Alright, that is given. So according to question we can say the area of cross section of steel, that is A1, is twice that of copper rod, that is A2. So A1 is equal to 2 times of A2. L1 equal to 15.0 centimeter So here length is given in centimeter. So we need to convert it in meter. So it will be 0.15 meter. Similarly, L2 is equal to 10.0 centimeter. So we need to convert it in meter. So it will be 0.10 meter. All right. Now, rate of heat flow through rod, uh, through steel rod, that is H1 is equal to K1 A1, temperature difference 300 minus T divided by L1. All right. This one is the temperature of furnace and this one is the temperature of ice box. Similarly, rate of heat flow through copper rod H2, that is equal to K2 A2 T minus 0 degree Celsius divided by L2. All right. So H1 for steel rod, for H2 for copper rod. Now, in the steady state, the rate of heat flow must be same through both ends. So we can say H1 is equal to H2, as H1 and H2 is the rate of heat flow. So we know H1 is equal to K1 A1 300 minus T divided by L1, and H2 is equal to K2 A2 into T divided by L2. All right. So substitute the given values and solve for T. So here we know K1 A1 L1, similarly K2 A2 and L2, and we need to find out the T, that is the temperature of the steel copper junction. All right. So the remaining term, the remaining part is just put the values in this relation and you will be get the answer. So K1 is 50.2 into A1 is 2 times of A2 into 300 minus T divided by L1, that is 0.15, is equal to K2 is 385 into A2 into T divided by 0.10. All right. Now solving this equation, and we know A1 is equal to 2 times of A2. So solving for T, so it will be 100.4 divided by 0.15 into 300 minus T is equal to 385 divided by 0.10 into T. So solving this, you will be get 669.33 into 300 minus T is equal to 3850 into T. So it will be become 200800 minus 669.33 into T is equal to 3850 T. Now take LHS side term and solve this. So you will be get 3850 plus it will be 669.33 into T is equal to 200800. Now we will solving for T. So 4519.33 into T is equal to 200800. So T equal to 200800 divided by 4519.33. When we solving this, you will be get 44.43 degrees Celsius. It means the temperature of the steel copper junction in the steady state of the system is 44.4 degrees Celsius. All right. So T equal to 44.4 degrees Celsius. Now we will summarize. So heat transfer is movement of thermal energy between objects due to temperature difference until equilibrium is reached. So from a body to body B, that there is a temperature difference, and due to this temperature difference there is a transfer of heat from first end to second end, and this phenomena is known as heat transfer. Three mechanisms of heat transfer are: first conduction, second convection, third radiation. So in conduction there is a heat transfer through direct contact, where energy moves from higher to lower temperature regions in matter. Example, heat traveling through a metal rod. Similarly, when you put a cold spoon in a hot tea, you will be get a changes in temperature in spoon. So heat, the spoon is absorb heat from, there is a heat transfer from tea to spoon. For a rod with length L, cross sectional area A, and temperature difference, that is Tc is greater than Td. So rate of heat flow H is given by H is equal to Ka into Tc minus Td divided by L. So thermal conductivity K measures a material's ability to conduct heat with units. So it will be watt per meter per Kelvin or joule per second per meter per Kelvin. Alright. So K is higher, K means higher thermal conductivity, faster heat transfer. Lower thermal conductivity, slower heat transfer. Alright. Materials with high K, like metals, it means high thermal conductivity, are good conductors, whereas low thermal conductivity materials like gases are good insulators. You know, two types of material, conductors and insulators. Air plays a key role in insulation due to its lower thermal conductivity. The value of thermal conductivity is K is equal to 0.024 in watt per meter per Kelvin. Real world applications include building insulation, cookware design, and nuclear reactor cooling systems. Thermal conductivity values vary widely. For silver, it has higher thermal conductivity, 406 watt per meter per Kelvin. For copper, 385 watt per meter per Kelvin. Silver is a too costly, that's why we most prefer copper for conductivity. Alright. For air, the thermal conductivity is 0.024 watt per meter per Kelvin. In steady state, the heat conduction through connected materials, heat flow rates equalize, that is K1A1 into T1 minus T2 divided by L1 is equal to K2A2 T2 minus T3 divided by L2. Alright, where K1 is the thermal conductivity of first material and K2 is the thermal conductivity of the second material. Similarly, A1 is the area of cross section of first material and L1 is the length of the first material. Similarly, A2 is the area of cross section of second material and L2 is the length of the second material. And their temperature differences is T1 minus T2 and T2 minus T3. Alright. Now we have a practice question and this is homework for you. First question is, what are the three main mechanisms of heat transfer? You know, there is a three modes of heat transfer. So conduction, convection, yes or no? And third one is what? Radiation. Alright. Second question, explain which mechanisms involves direct contact between objects and transfer of heat energy from particle to particle. So which mode is directly contact with objects? Conduction, convection or radiation? Which one is the answer? So in conduction, there is a direct contact between objects and transfer of thermal energy from particle to particle. Alright. Third, a metal rod has a cross sectional area of 4 centimeters square and length 20 centimeter. So here given cross sectional area 4 centimeters square and length 20 centimeter. If the temperature difference between its ends is 50 degrees Celsius, so the temperature difference is 50 degrees Celsius and its thermal conductivity is 200 watt per meter per Kelvin. Alright. So calculate the rate of heat flow through the rod. So here you have to find out the value of H. You know the formula of H. H is equal to K into A into temperature difference divided by length. Yes or no? So using that formula, solve this question. Fourth one, looking at table 10.4, which metal would be best suited for making cooking utensils and why? So copper. Copper is best metal. All right. Compare it with the least one other metal from the table. And last one, why are plastic forms good insulators? Two types of materials, conductors and insulators. So here you have to find out the why are the plastic forms good insulators. Explain the role of trapped air in their insulating properties. All right. So this is homework for you. I hope all questions are clear. Yes or no? Okay. Thank you for your attention.